Récemment, j'ai visité la Normandie, en France, avec toute une délégation de Canadiens, à l'occasion du 80e anniversaire de jour J. J'ai eu l'honneur de me tenir sur la plage de Juno avec certains des héros qui ont pris d'assaut cette plage le 6 juin 1944. Ce sont ces héros qui ont sauvé le monde. They were the heroes who saved the world. Those brave young Canadians who stormed the beaches of Normandy 80 years ago, they were the greatest generation. One of those heroes was 102-year-old Charles Davis of Windsor, Ontario, who arrived in Normandy on D-Day +4 and was part of the campaign inland as Canadians and our allies liberated Normandy from the Nazi invaders. And Canada is home to many such heroes, heroes who endured conditions unimaginable to most of us. Heroes like Sam Sharp, then a Conservative member of Parliament who rose up a battalion from his riding and led them in Europe during the First World War. Heroes like Lloyd Hamilton, a Métis soldier who once acted to save 80 Korean children from an orphanage during the Korean War. Heroes like Nicole Langlois, who was part of the first deployment of female soldiers in a frontline role. Heroes like Rick Moore, whose surviving family were the first to receive a Memorial Cross awarded to a Persian Gulf veteran related to illness linked to his service. Heroes like Jess La Rochelle, whose courage while severely wounded in Afghanistan saved many of his fellow soldiers. Although awarded the Star of Military Valor, Jess tragically left us last year before ever seeing his government recognize him with the Victoria Cross many feel he deserved. Heroes like the 66,000 Canadians who laid down their lives during the First World War. Heroes like the 44,000 who made the ultimate sacrifice in the Second World War. The 516 who gave their lives in Korea. And the 158 Canadian Armed Forces members who lost their lives in Afghanistan. Let us never forget that these are not just numbers or statistics. They represent real people who laid down their lives for our freedoms. They were young men and women who had hopes and dreams that will forever go unrealized. Ils l'ont fait pour nous tous, pour que nous puissions continuer à vivre en liberté. Ils l'ont fait volontairement dans l'acte ultime de courage et de sacrifice. C'est une dette que nous ne pourrons jamais rembourser. And in much the same way, there is never enough that we can do or say to thank those who served this country and came back forever changed. Whether they're injuries or physical or psychological, they leave deep scars and often having a lasting impact on their relationships, on their families, and on their futures. And we owe it to them to ensure that what they fought for is never taken for granted. Nous leur rendons hommage pour leur loyal service et pour leur sacrifice. C'est un très grand honneur pour moi que d'être ici aujourd'hui pour leur exprimer au nom du chef de l'opposition officielle, tous les conservateurs de gros bon sens et de tous les Canadiens, notre reconnaissance, notre admiration, notre profond respect, et afin de leur promettre d'être toujours là pour eux, comme ils l'ont été pour nous. My wife Carmen and I recently welcomed our little baby daughter Jade into the world, and when I think about the Canada that I want her to grow up in, it's one where we have heroes like Charles, Sam, Lloyd, Nicole, Rick, and Jess defending our freedoms and values. It's the Canada the tens of thousands who made the ultimate sacrifice gave their lives for. And it's the one where those heroes and their families get the respect and appreciation that they deserve. Because the freedom for which they spilled their blood, the democracy for which they suffered, the sovereignty for which they died is not the property of this generation to surrender. Let us all teach our children, as we will teach Jade, about these heroes and their bravery, about the constant battle of good versus evil, about freedom over tyranny. And if we ask those veterans to tell us the single most important thing that we could do to repay them, I know that they would all say the same thing: to never take for granted that which they fought for, our freedoms. So please join me and my colleagues in Canada's Common Sense Conservatives in making that commitment today. We pledge to uphold those freedoms. It is how we will honor their memories, thank them for their service, and show our respect for their sacrifice. Freedom came at all costs, and at all costs We must ensure it is maintained. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Nous, souviendrons,